This is Anna Hoffman with Trafficology Blueprint, the blueprint to targeting and driving more profitable traffic. And this is your live demo on how to turn a slide deck into a YouTube video. So you want to learn a new traffic generation skill, like turning slide decks that drive traffic from sites like SlideShare into killer videos that'll drive even more traffic from video sites like YouTube. Hitting as many different media outlets as possible with a single piece of content, in other words. Content Catapult at its finest. However, if you are anything like me, learning a new skill could be intimidating, frustrating, time prohibitive. Blah. That got me thinking. How can I help you learn something I know will be of huge benefit to your traffic generation with as little pain as possible? And here it is. I'll show you how I do it. I'll take a raw SlideShare presentation, edit it to work better in the video format, walk you through all the aha moments that I have discovered after doing this kind of content repurposing for a while, and hopefully inspire you to discover your own aha moments that will turn this challenge into I turning presentations into videos for breakfast kind of feeling. So, without further ado, let's get to work. So I'm currently working on repurposing a SlideShare presentation that is a Periscope on Android tutorial. This was quite a long SlideShare presentation, about 100 slides, which is okay for SlideShare because people can stop anytime they want to, come back to it. It's not a problem at all. With a video, it's a little bit different. So here's your first aha moment. Break up a long presentation into a series of short videos, and that way your viewers stay more engaged, plus you'll have more content to share. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to break up my presentation into 3, possibly 4 shorter videos that I will put together in a playlist, Periscope on Android tutorial playlist of sorts. This is my cover slide for part 3 of this Periscope tutorial video series. I simply copied and pasted it from the first 2 parts and added part 3 to it to save time. Next comes my recap slide where I tell people what they have learned in the previous parts of this video series. And here comes the next aha moment, by the way. As you edit your slides, say out loud everything you intend to say in the video. That way you'll know right away if your text needs to be changed to sound more natural. So back to the recap slide. This is what it looks like, but compare this. Would you rather see a slide like this in a video or something like this? Previously in this Periscope video tutorial, you've learned everything about creating your Periscope account, setting up your Periscope profile, and finding and following interesting Periscope broadcasters. Do you see what I did here? I broke down a text-heavy slide like this into 4 different slides where I present bullet points automatically kind of way, and it keeps viewers a lot more engaged. It's a good idea to present text-heavy slides in shorter chunks. So break them up into several slides that reveal your text line by line. And here's how we're going to do that. So in the first slide, I want to show only the title of a slide and then present my bullet points one by one. So I'm going to take the slide, and I already did this here before, but now I'm going to show you how I actually did it. So first, we need 4 separate slides for each line. So I'm going to duplicate this slide 4 times. The way I do it in Keynote on Mac, I press Command D. So the first slide will be only this line, the title of the slide. So I need to get rid of all the bullet points. Here's the problem though. If I just delete the bullet points, let me show you. See how the title moved down. So if I present the next slide, the title will move back up, and it won't be as fluid as I would like it to be. So I'm going to undo here, what I did before, and instead of simply deleting the bullet points, I'm going to go into the colors of the text colors, and decrease opacity to 0. And that's what will keep my formatting exactly the same and yet will make the bullet points disappear. So this was like slide 1. On slide 2, I want the title. Oops, sorry. If you make a mistake, just press undo instead of trying to change it manually. So in this slide, I want the title and the first bullet. So I'm going to get rid of the bottom 2 bullets the same way. I'll decrease opacity. And then next slide, I need to get rid of only the bottom bullet. And then the fourth slide will be the entire slide. So this is what it would look like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very simple and much better for video. Now that we did our recap slide, I need to move on and set expectations for this section of the video series. So the next slide would be that kind of introduction. And for now, I'm thinking of saying in part 3 of this Periscope and Android video tutorial, we'll talk about Periscope's 2 major functions, watching and broadcasting. Now, mind you, I don't really know as of right now if I'm going to indeed talk about both of these functions, watching and broadcasting. I might have to break it down into even smaller chunks and make 2 videos out of this. But for now, I'll just keep it this way and I can come back and change it should I decide to stop at watching. So, once again, this is a little bit too much text for me to show up on one video slide, so I'm going to break it up. And here's one thing that I did not mention before. When I talked to you about recapping, our recap slide and how we can build in the text in this way. There's another way that you can do it both in PowerPoint and Keynote, and that's through transitions. The thing is that about transitions, you can see it right here. There are transitions. You can do all kinds of effects that build text in and out, but this takes a little bit longer and it takes a little bit of effort to learn. So for me, it's simply easier to do it the way I showed you. It's more effective, it's quicker, and the dangerous thing about transitions is that there are so many of them that you can very easily spend too much time trying to decide what kind of transition, how long it takes, how to do this and that. So I avoid that altogether. So to break up the slide, once again, I'm just going to do what I showed you before. Right now I'm thinking I'm going to break this up into 3 different slides. So I'm going to duplicate this slide, again Command D on my Mac, into 3, and in the first one, okay, so I'm going to keep the first line on the first slide and I'm going to make the rest of it disappear by bringing my opacity to 0. So this will be my first slide. My next slide, I will leave out the bottom line. Again, click on colors, decrease opacity to 0, and then the third slide will be kept as is. So it would look like this in the video. In part 3 of this Periscope on Android video tutorial, we'll talk about Periscope's 2 major functions, watching and broadcasting. Next slide. Here's everything you need to know about watching a broadcast on Periscope. Looks pretty good as is, but I'm sure you have noticed by now that I do like to use different colors of font colors for a particular presentation or video. Usually I choose 2 of them, and I try to vary those colors a little bit to highlight some of the sections of text. And what that does is it just makes it a little bit more interesting for viewers and keeps them more engaged, which is a great thing usually. So in this one, I'm going to highlight the words watching a broadcast because that's what we're talking about. And I'm going to click on colors. Here I already have my colors saved for this presentation, so I'm just going to choose this color, which is a color of one of the colors of Periscope. That's why I chose this particular color. As you can see here, Periscope colors are white and sort of orangey red, so that's what I'm using here. So that was my next slide. Here's everything you need to know about watching a broadcast on Periscope. Perfect the way it is. Let's move on. Next slide. Tap on TV icon to watch people you follow. Perfect the way it is. Tap on the globe icon to watch random people around the globe. What can you do when watching a broadcast? Now, as I read it to myself, I can feel that the text just didn't sound very as a smooth transition from slide to slide. So I'm going to have to adjust my text on this slide, I believe. So I added another slide as a transition between the two, and now this is what it looks like. Tap on the globe icon to watch random people around the globe. Pretty simple, right? So what can you do when watching a Periscope broadcast? So now there's a little more flow between the slides, so I'm going to keep it at that. And here's my next slide, chat. Obviously, this does not sound very good for a video, but even though I'm going to keep the slide the way it is with just one word on it, when I actually make the video, I'm going to say, you can also chat, and here's how. And that transition will bring me to this. Tap on the chat box to leave a comment, follow what others have to say, see live viewers count, and exit broadcast when you're done. Now here's another little trick I wanted to share with you. So the previous slide that I showed you, chat, it used to look more like this. It had number one because it was sort of a bullet list for my SlideShare presentation, and it was in white color. I decided to change it to this, looking like this for the video because I thought it was more interactive. So now I need to adjust all the consequent slides to look the same, and here's the easiest way to do it. So I'll go back to the slide chat and I'm going to copy that slide. If you know your keyboard shortcuts, which by the way are very, very useful, for Mac it's Command C, and that allows me to copy the slide. If you don't know keyboard shortcuts, don't worry about it. Just go into Edit and press Copy. Then go to the slide after which you'd like to paste that slide into. So I'm going to click on that and click Paste. Again, if you don't know the keyboard shortcuts, just click on Paste right here. And that pasted the slide right here. Now I need to how do I swap the text and make it match this way? Let me see if I can show you how to do it. So I'm going to highlight the text and press copy, and then I'm going to go back to this slide, highlight the text, and now I need not just to paste the text, because if I just paste my text it would look exactly like it did in the previous slide, right? So I'm going to undo that, but there's a function in both Keynote and PowerPoint that allows you to paste and match style, and now it shows up as in orange color like chat was. So don't forget to delete this slide since we don't need it anymore. The only thing that I need to do is to do all caps because the previous one was all caps as well, right? And there is a function in Keynote and I believe in PowerPoint as well. Let me show you where it is. In Keynote, I'm under text right here, and I'm going to click on the little gear icon, settings, and by the way, I'm using the latest Keynote version whatever it is. And you can see capitalization right there. So I press all caps and it will change it to all caps. So this is pretty easy, and I'll show you very quickly how to do it in PowerPoint as well. So I just typed the same text here, and in PowerPoint there's this little icon here that says change case. So all you do is click on that and go uppercase, and you will do the same in PowerPoint. Moving on, swipe up to see more info. Share broadcasts with others. And remember, not all broadcasts are share-worthy. If you keep sharing everything you watch, people will start unfollowing you. Like I unfollowed this marketing dude who kept sharing these kinds of broadcasts. So far so good. So I need to change this slide again like I showed you. So I'm going to, once again, before I do that, I need to copy this slide, and I'm going to insert it right after this slide by pasting it. So now I just need to copy, I don't need number 3. There we go. Copy this text, highlight. I hope you're able to follow me. If not, just pause the video and do it step by step. Go into edit, paste and match style, and look at that, it even went uppercase for me right away. That's good. So I can delete this slide at this point. So again, when I actually record the video, I won't just say hi chat. I will say something like, and you can also hide chat, here's how, and then move on to the next slide. Tap on the dots to see the hide chat option, then hide chat. Alright, I'm going to pause here and just walk through my presentation and change a few things so that I don't hold you up. If there's anything else that I'd love to share with you, I'm going to be right back with it. Alright, so I went through the rest of the slides, changed whatever needed to be changed, and everything looks pretty good. I also decided that I'm going to stop this video at watching function of Periscope and not go into broadcast function in this particular video, because that would be just a little bit too much. So I will make another video, part number 4 of this Periscope tutorial, but I'm closing part number 3 by setting expectations for the next part so that people know what to expect and why they need to come back to my YouTube channel. So I am going to say, in part 4 of this Periscope on Android video tutorial, you learn everything there is to know about broadcasting. Once again, now that I'm reading it, I'm realizing that, oh, don't touch that, I'm realizing that I need to, this is a little bit too much text, so did what I told you not to do. Need to go into colors and bring opacity to 0. So I separated this slide into 2 slides and reversed them while doing it. That's okay. So now I'll have 2 slides here. It says, in part 4 of this Periscope on Android video tutorial, you'll learn everything there's to know about broadcasting. I think I need another slide here, don't you think? It just makes sense. I'm going to say, since the word broadcasting is highlighted here with my intonation, I'm going to highlight it by making it show up last. So this is what it would look like. Perfect. Also, close up with call to action, of course. I also encourage you to read and bookmark my full Periscope tutorial at trafficgenerationcafé.com. It's constantly updated to reflect all the latest Periscope changes. And then, of course, at the end, you will give them a link and walk them through the choices that they need to, the steps that they need to make to actually get to your call to action. Well, that's that, folks. If you enjoyed picking my brain half as much as I enjoyed my own brilliance, you see what I mean? My job here is done. And one last aha moment before I let you go. Your brain is a muscle. The more you practice Content Catapult steps, the better, the faster, the more efficient you become. This is Anna Hoffman with TrafficologyBlueprint.com.